Hello, friends and viewers. Welcome to Just Thinking, a segment on faith and reason, which will be going on extended version very soon. But today we would want to talk about a very pertinent issue, that is raising up children. It is very common and very popular, especially in this African context, that when children are talking, we tend to place them behind the scene. We tend to shut them up. We tell them that keep quiet, you will do know. So a child is not supposed to give his view or opinion about something. And this reminds me of an experience I had years back when I was called to a certain place. I sat before the elders and they told me that, well, this is what we've heard you do. We're not going to ask you whether you are right or you are wrong. In fact, a child before adults, you are always wrong. This made me feel very bitter and angry. And for some time, I felt so angry with these elderly people for not listening to my side of the story. In actual fact, I was really right about the issue. So this comes to the issue of raising up children. How do you raise up children? You know, children are very intelligent. When you underestimate them, you are going to miss a lot from these kids. And traditionally, we've been taught that a child does not have that sense to communicate. A child is not wise enough. He's not matured enough. He's not experienced enough. And that when adults are even talking, he should go and stand somewhere. His view is not received and it's not even collected. And as a result of this, most children have become very timid, very shy. And the potential and the talent in these kids have gone down the drain without them noticing what they are able to do. And we have the liberalists or the humanists who claim that you don't have the right to discipline a child. A child has his own rights. He chooses to do whatever he wants to do. He can think for himself. He can choose for himself. So as a parent, you need to bargain with your child in case your child errs, how much punishment you should exert on him or whatever thing you want to do. You have to sit the child down and bargain with him. You have to go on agreement terms with your child, which this actually is in contrary to the traditional perspective of raising children. And we have the biblical aspect that also tells us that you have to raise a child by training the child, by teaching the child, by leading the child, by mentoring the child, by educating the child, empathizing with the child. So how do we then help these children become so confident and strong? I think the best thing we can do for these children is to listen to them. Involve kids in decision making. Sometimes your children getting to know the view or the opinion of your child will go a long way to help the family make a very good decision. You see, involve them in decision making. Do not underestimate what they can do. Do not push them aside. But in doing all this, you have to be very careful the sort of information you share when you are around children. Yes, it is true. There are times some issues are about them, but there are times, even though you think it's about them, they can really come in and give us a good perspective of all these things. I don't know which side you belong to. I don't know whether you belong to the traditional group that says that you don't have to give a child that open forum. You don't have to give the child that open space for him or her to say whatever he feels like saying or do whatever he feels like doing. And or you are on the side of the humanists who claim that the child has his own rights. You have to bargain with your child if you want to get your child to do something. Your child has the right to talk whether you want to listen or not. Or you are on the side of the spirituals or let's say the religious from the perspective of the Bible who say that you have to train up a child, you have to discipline a child, you have to mentor a child, lead a child, guide a child. And I don't know which side you are on. I have my take. I don't know your take. So let me have your views and your comments. But before that, we would want to go on the streets and get to know the opinions of people. We'll be right back.
I know that there are different school of thoughts that feel that the children should express themselves freely. Another school of thought that think that children have nothing to offer, though, so they should keep quiet and stay at the background. But if you look at the biblical order of raising up children, which I subscribe to, is that the Bible again said the children are God's heritage and they are the reward of the womb. At a point in time, Jesus said, do not prevent the children from coming to me, because unto them belong the kingdom of heaven. So children have a significant role to play when their rights is concerned. Children need to express themselves. I believe so strongly in that. But in expressing themselves, they must be given a limit. The limit in the sense that the Bible says, foolishness is in the heart of a child, and the rod of correction shall take it out. Again, the Bible again says, if you discipline your child, he will not die. So lack of discipline, the children grows to become vagabond. They grow not to respect the elderly. That's, you have this attitude in the European world most often, where children talk to elders anyhow. The culture of the elder and the children is being cut off. That is why in Africa here, we believe that children should be behind the scene and they should be mature before they express themselves. But there is a brand new generation coming up that believe that children need to express themselves, but they should be express themselves under a control. Because the Bible again says the child, so long as he's a child, he stays under teachers until the time appointed for that child to come. Although the child is an heir, although the child is a lord or the owner, or the one the property is bequeathed to, that child must stay under teachers until the time of that child comes, which is the time of maturity. Then everything can be handed over to a child. It's just like buying the latest BMW or the latest Benz G-Wagon, and you give it to a child that is 14 years to drive around town. That alone tells you how he will handle that car, because the age of maturity hasn't come to express in the handling of that car. So for me, I believe that the expression of the child should be based on what the child can handle per their age, per their time, and per their, what the environment also demands of them. So for me, I strongly believe that the biblical view of children expressing their view stands. They need to express their view, but within a limit, within a controllable limit.
Fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. That alone has given the child a right. Parents are not instructors to their children. They are not directors. They are meant to be leaders. In other words, a leader, you guide by showing examples. Your children have the spirit soul body, just like the father has spirit soul body. And so you are expected to consider these children as human beings, full human beings. You don't instruct them on anything and expect them to follow it, just like the way you instruct animals. Because humans don't walk by instinct, they walk by reasoning. Even the child reasons. Animals don't reason. So you can get an animal, get out, and it goes. But children, they walk by reasoning. They should have the reason why they are to go that way. We instruct them. The Bible says, grow them up in the way that they should go. That when they are old, they will not depart from it. Grow them up. Nurture them, what the Bible said. It didn't say beat them. It didn't say drive them. It didn't say tell them. It said grow them, nurture them. That has given the children right. And the way you treat these children, God will ask you about them, because they are God. The Bible said, he that loves these children loves God. He said, of these little ones, God has ordained strength, which means God is very much interested in children. He says, suffer the little children to come unto me, because out of their mouth and I will have ordained strength. Out of the mouth of them I have ordained strength. Because these children should be given attention. You should consider them. They are not to be bullied or done. In fact, angels fight for these children. And so if you offend the children's sensibilities, it's a war against angels. So with this, I want to say that as parents or as adults, as elderly ones, we are not just to instruct, we are to lead them, we are to nurture them, we are to show them, we are to appeal to their reasonings, and not beat them or bully them. God bless you.
Welcome back. Interesting comments and opinions indeed. If you want to be on the show, you are free to call one of the numbers scrolling on the screen, or you can send us a text message or you can even share, like, or follow, and we'll get back to you. Now, this is Just Thinking on Faith and Reason. See you next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye bye.